Hey, I'm Craig.
And I'm Regina.
And this is Home Grown, a series about our journey as we turn a house into a self-sustaining home.
We are going to be growing our own food, capturing water, and to generate some of its own energy.
To be sustainable as we can be in suburbia. So let's get home growing. G'day and welcome to another episode of Home Growing. I'm Craig, and today we've got some exciting news. We've got solar panels. That's right, Home Growing's gone green. Getting solar panels was one of the first things we actually wanted to do for a couple of reasons. As soon as you put them on, it's instant savings. So the longer you leave it, the more you're going to pay. And the second thing, if we can produce our own energy, then we're actually creating a sustainable home. So we thought, get it done, get it in. There might be a couple of you guys out there who watch this and go, well, is it really sustainable? We're using raw materials, we're using finite materials to make the solar panels. And the energy that goes into that can be quite high, especially to extract the silicon to make them. But the definition of sustainability is if anything can produce more energy than it takes to make it, then it's sustainable. So if we compare that to coal, which is what everyone's electricity is coming from, in terms of renewable resources, as soon as you burn it, the energy's gone. Now, if we're looking at solar panels, the energy that goes into it and the resources that go into it are finite, but the energy that's actually coming out of those solar panels is so much more greater than what it's taken to produce them. They actually technically are sustainable. So that's one of the reasons why we got solar panels. And also, the great thing is, every video from here on is going to be produced with green energy. So that's really cool. It means even this series is now becoming sustainable. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here today to talk about the garden. It's a beautiful day out here in Kambarang season, which is one of 6 seasons of the Noongar calendar. The Noongar people are the indigenous people of this land. And the Noongar seasons are more accurate than the traditional 4 seasons. And that's because the Noongar calendar goes by the rhythms of nature. The flowers, the insects, and the animals. By observing when those things emerge, we can tell when the seasons actually change. So that's why I'm using the Noongar seasons. So the Kambarang season means less rainfall, a lot longer sun, and that means I better get on to planting. So what I'm going to do today is basically create the veggie bed. So one of the problems that we have in this location is the sun. It's great for winter, but the only downside is we get too much sun in summer. So a lot of these plants aren't going to love the 40 degrees heat. So what we're going to do is we're going to create circles, and within the circles we're going to create some layers to mimic a forest story. So we have the forest floor, understory, and a canopy. So my plan is really to try and create a bit of a canopy in each veggie bed, and then that will create shade for the other plants. And hopefully we'll be able to get some vegetables growing throughout the rest of the season. So that's the plan. We haven't got any retic in, so it's all going to be hand watering for a while until we figure out what we're going to do there. But for now, I'm going to move all these plants out of the way and then create the circles. And I'm also going to be building the soil at the same time. So I'll get these plants moving and then I'll show you what I'm going to do with the soil. So let's go.
The time could stand. I wish the sun never goes down. There's a future ahead of us, but the past remains the past. But the past remains the past.
Now this is an interesting one. So this is an almond, and I was looking at its leaves and they're just starting to crinkle up a little bit, which usually means that it's not getting enough water. And I was looking through the soil here and it looks like the top layer is nice and rich, but the bottom bit is a bit dry. So what this is telling me is that it's a little bit root bound. It's time for like a new pot. But that's a good thing. It means she wants to go to a new home and grow into a more mature tree, which is fantastic. More almonds, that's what it means. But not gonna do that today. So I'll show you how you can actually just recover these plants when they do dry out within the pot. It's a super easy trick. So I'll go grab a bucket, fill it up with water. And basically what we're going to do is just put this pot in a bucket of water and soak it there for like 24 hours. And that will rehydrate the soil. And we'll keep on going. So what I'm doing is just working out where the circles, like the edge of the circles, are going to be, and that just gives me a rough idea of where the beds are going to go. And one of the reasons we're doing circles is really it's about saving space and also making it as efficient as possible. So if I just did straight lines, although, you know, that's pretty, it's not great for watering because you're trying to cover a longer area, and then you need more drippers and spray heads and things to water the garden. Well, if you've got a circle, you can usually put at least just one in a circular motion and you'll cover everything. And the other great thing is, if we're doing circles with trees and things, what that does is create a canopy, and throughout the day the shade will actually fall across different parts around the plants, and that way everything else gets covered. And then I've just left a little gap just between here, and that's just so you can have enough space to walk through and enough room for like a wheelbarrow and things like that. So we're going to put a few more circles just out here. I've already got some plants in the ground which we put in there last time, so we'll just work around those, and then once I've got my circles in, then we can start to sheet mulch for each circle. All right, well, I'll keep going. Hot day, busy stuff. Let's go. Okay, so the circles, we've worked them out, and now I'm going to go get the manure and sprinkle that throughout those beds that we made. And the idea really behind that is we're adding the biology through the manure, and that's also adding the nitrogen and all the bits and pieces that actually makes soil. So now we've got our circles worked out. Now I'm going to get some cardboard and newspaper and lay that over the top and sheet mulch where I've dug it up. And what that's going to do is just stop any weeds, grass, other things that's growing through, and allows the ones that I do want to plant to shoot up real quick. Also, it adds carbon to the soil, and that actually makes soil super healthy. All right, so sheet mulching, let's go. Just one thing to note there, if you get any used cardboard, just make sure you strip off the sticky tape before you lay it. Otherwise, you'll dig it up and find it's stuck to a carrot or something. So not the most appetizing. So yeah, just remove the plastic and good to go. And also use plain cardboard, that's the best. Now the other thing you can use if you don't have any cardboard, easy to come by, old newspapers. So basically the same thing, but I just try and use at least maybe 4 sheets. And that way you get enough so the doesn't decompose too quickly. Even ink, most ink, you can just check with your newspapers if you're worried, but most ink now is soy-based. So it breaks down, it doesn't have toxic chemicals, so they're going straight to the garden. Now, if that happens, it's getting windy, and your newspapers is blowing around, cool little trick for you. Go get a hose, give it a little spray. And that'll stop the cardboard blowing around. So, I might go get my hose. Okay, so we got down just our first layer of mulch. I decided to put just a little bit on there. It was getting pretty windy and my paper was just going wild. So that just kept it on there. But now I'm going to put in the center some of these bigger plants. So we've got a sea breeze coming from this side and also just through the back there. So they're probably the windiest places. And then we've got the north, that's behind, and that is going to be the sunniest. So, by those factors, the ones that need most protection, closer to the house, the ones that don't mind a bit of wind and sun, further away. And once we start planting our veggies, it's going to be the same method. So, the sunniest stuff is going to probably be on this side of the circles, and then I'll put more of the shaded, protected stuff behind. And let's hope these little circles work. All right, let's keep going. And then finally, we're going to get some straw and layer that on top. Straw is going to be basically to cover up the cardboard, and also, so this is a little tip for you. So when you're mulching, you can either use wood-based mulch or you could use grass-based, depending on what you want to grow. So if you're going to grow trees, they love fungus. And fungus lives basically in chips, wood chips. So they just break down wood as it decays. And because we're making veggie beds, what we're going to do is put straw where we're going to actually put our veggies. and that will encourage the nitrogen bacteria. And that's what our veggies love. So, wood chips for trees and grassy mulch for your veggies. Give it a go. Yeah, pretty cool. All right, let's get on to it. Well, that's the circle done. So it doesn't look like much, not yet, but it will, don't worry. Once the plants start growing, it's gonna be good. But I was gonna keep going with this, do the other circles, and then we'll be ready for planting. Chickens are making a bit of a noise. Had to put them away because I was scratching up too much. So that's why they're chirping. But that's it for today. In the next episode, I'll show you guys my planting method and how I'm going to grow some food in here. So pretty exciting. If you'd like to follow the series, make sure you subscribe and I'll keep posting these up. So I really appreciate checking this out and watching, and keep growing, keep you going, and we'll catch you in the next episode.